Okay, ladies, we're going to start with your first handout tonight. It's Morse, 11th level, The Realm, and Kyle just gave you those, or should have just given you those. Eric Morris states that 95% of our talent comes from the unconscious, and only a fraction of talent lives in the conscious part of ourselves. So we're going to continue hammering on the subconscious and the unconscious. Megan, would you read the first paragraph, please?
I truly believe and practice the theory that our subconscious is our most critical asset as a performer. Our unconscious is highly artistic and extraordinarily imaginative. Scenarios developed within the unconscious are packed with vivacity, ecstasy, and or graphic nightmares. All of these can be wonderful tools for the actor. Dreams, most obviously, are the essential playground for these involuntary visions. And through dream awareness, we will find a vital teacher within ourselves.
Okay, Anise, would you read the next paragraph?
There are various degrees of tapping into the unconscious stage. While portraying a character, you have a level of alertness regarding where you are and what exactly you are doing, physically, mentally, and verbally. This method of using choices and choice approaches command intellectual guidance. However, if ideally you are involved in this procedure, your awareness that you are on the stage acting is referred to what Morris terms the 11th level. That is what I label reaching the outer realm.
And this is something that you will know when it happens. Some actors, it never happens to. And I don't think it's happened to either one of you yet. But when you're performing, there's a point in your growth where all of a sudden you just slip over and you're gone. If the building catches on fire, you wouldn't know it because your character is not happening to, and you're so embodied inside that character. Your eyes have a different look about it. I can tell when someone goes over, and it's really mind-boggling to you because you don't even you're finished and you don't even realize what you've said. It's almost a hypnotic state. And if you become familiar enough with your material, that's why it's so important to get them memorized quickly, where you can just start running them and running them and running them, and where the words come automatically, and that way you can start adding all these levels that we're going to learn from the unconscious and the subconscious. Okay, Megan, would you read the next paragraph?
The actor is completely involved in the moment-to-moment realities of his character. He is responding instinctively to the elements that affect his character, becoming motivated by not only his choices but those of the other players, and virtually any stimuli or impulses coming to life in the course of the performance in that instant.
Improv, referring back to improv in level 1. It literally is a second to second to second. All those little things that you add in, you know, I have a gesture here. You remember when we did markings and you put slashes and you put G with a circle around it for gestures? You may do all that, but eventually you're so embodied by the character that it only has those gestures, and it only has that posture, and it only has that tone to its voice. And that's why you can make them all separate. And that's why with your dramatic interp, where you do 2 characters, it's a lot easier once you start depending on the unconscious. Once you've gotten that material so memorized that the material is irrelevant anymore. Now you're just becoming and evolving and going over that realm. Okay, Anise, would you read the next one? Being aware of acting.
Being aware of acting, actual stage action. The next line, the upcoming blocking is present. but only in the depths of his consciousness. Morris calls this the 11th level, because preceding it is the actor's basic education. The actor is truly functioning with the organic involvement and response to fundamental realities of the action/dialogue. Warning: if the actor does not attempt to reach for the realm and merely interacts on base level, he cannot anticipate support from unconscious sources.
Okay. Let's go to page 2. Megan?
Strive for contact with the involuntary every time you perform. You will, in time, develop your own method, formula, craft. Once mastered, it will be a comforting reference in your composition of realism. You must constantly obtain additional approaches that will enable you to easily mesh to conscious and un.
Okay. We're following what's going on now? Okay. Then would you read the last paragraph, Denise?
You will not know when and if you will ever break through the realm. Most actors never get their totally, or if they do, are lost in the transition. Something will click. When and if it does, be assured you will know, and your audience certainly will. Look for it in any performer. Watching this transitory maneuver can be almost as exhilarating as experiencing it. Often it is such a profound experience, the actor may have no recollection.
And that I find happens very often. It's all of a sudden you're saying scene and you don't even remember that you've done the piece. You may go out there nervous as can be, but once you start, it takes over. And you know it so well, and you've done your character analysis, and you know the inside and the outside of your character so well that it just flows and it shows. There's such a difference in reciting the lines beautifully and doing nice, beautiful blocking and gestures than there is when you reach over into this unconscious support. And that's what this level is trying to teach you to do. This is the ultimate consciousness. Points to ponder on your quest. Selectively emphasize. That means when you look for just your punch words, go back and reselect more punch words that help support that initial word. Am I making sense? Okay. Seek primitive reaction, gut reaction. If your gut reaction is to laugh at a certain point, it may be totally appropriate. Denise, have you chosen which solos you're going to do yet? Because I was going to say, if you're doing identity crisis, there are times when that character is nothing but gut reaction. Everything she says is so far out there, it's all based on just gut reaction, instinct. Make observation skills acute. We've already gone over that in level 1. And you're observing. How many of you did observe someone this weekend? Tell me about it.
Well, I observed she's a new freshman in choir, so I didn't know her. I thought it'd be fun. We were going around the room telling a little bit about ourselves, so I just kind of want to watch and see how she interacted in that situation. And she was really fidgety, but she wanted us to think that she was comfortable. That's what I got. The way she held herself, the way she talked, the way she was dressed, all said, "Look at me." But she would fidget with her hands, or she would shift her eyes back and forth, or just kind of quiver just a little bit, which made me think she's actually nervous. She just doesn't want us to know that.
So she was unsure that.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch her. But and she was observing everyone else, but she kind of had tunnel vision. I think she was looking for things from different people, because I watched her the whole time and she never knew, even though she was looking all around the room.
And she never picked up on it.
So I thought that was
Then she was definitely tunnel vision, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Okay, sensitize, utilizing affective memory. Be aware of your dreams, and we're going to talk about dreams. Constantly consider the actor's mandatory handouts. Remember, actor's questions, the development exercise, and the social history. Those three things you have to do on each character that you have. So that's 2 solos and 2 characters in your dramatic interp. That's 4 character analysis you've got to do before you're going to understand those characters. Strive to mesh the conscious and the unconscious. This is so important. I really hate that we have 2 students out tonight, because reaching this level of unconsciousness is so important for believability, where your audience will believe what you're talking about. And I can't stress enough how important it is to rely on that and to go back and restate. Eric Morris says that 95% of our talent comes from the unconscious. 95% of our true talent comes from the unconscious. So you've got to learn to be aware of unconscious support or subconscious support, which goes along, remember, contact and conscious learning. Okay? So contact learning goes along with the unconscious support, because you don't realize you're really learning. You just happen to be in that situation and learn from that situation. Just like you learned a lot observing that girl. A lot of what she's probably about. That she is concerned how she looks and wants to make a good impression, but obviously is a little insecure. And that's probably why she did tunnel visioned you out. Okay, your next paper is dream awareness.